Hi everyone, just going to add my guest to the stage. Go. Hi Avella, hi Lou.
Morning.
Hello. Okay, we'll get started. We've got a really exciting session on today about women in property. And it will be a 25 to 30 minute session. We'll do a Q&A style here. Feel free to ask any questions in the chat and we'll answer them as we go. And our sales support Vienna is also in the chat if you've got any quick questions. She can help you with that as well. So joining me on stage, I'm Stacey. I'm the Sales and Marketing Coordinator for Relab. I've got Lou, our CMO at Relab here, and Avella from Opteon Solutions. Avella, can you tell us a bit about what you do in the property industry and a bit about your background?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. I'm excited to be a part of this webinar today, and thanks to Relab for the opportunity to take part. So I'm the regional director, or one of the regional directors at Opteon, and also a registered valuer. I look after the government and advisory side of the business while also working with the senior leadership team within the market valuation side to drive strategic initiatives here in New Zealand. So that's the majority of my role.
Awesome. Cool. Lou, did you have a question for Avella?
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm Lou. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer here at Relab. And me and Stacey work in the awesome marketing team here. Avella, so nice to have you here. I met Avella at the Property Institute conference back in July or August. Back when we had a little bit more freedom. So it was super cool to meet Avella, and Avella actually won an industry award for women in property during the course of the Property Institute conference. So that's super cool. It's super nice to see loads of women, A, in the industry, but B, even more putting their hands up and wanting to be part of the property industry. And Avella's a shining example of somebody in the property industry who's using her voice and who is standing up and who is being seen and heard, and we're super excited to have you here. Avella, my first question would be, as a property company ourselves, we work in data, but data is kind of the secondary thing that we do here. Well, the first thing we do is, and our main aim is to help property professionals, and whether that be property managers or real estate agents or developers or architects even, to be more successful in their roles. So my question for you would be, what does success look like for you in this industry?
Yeah, sure. I'd probably start by saying that my idea of success has changed a lot over the course of my career. I've been with Opteon for 8 years, starting, in Perth, West Australia as a graduate, and then moving to New Zealand, in 2017. So 5 years ago now, which seems crazy. And I think, when I was a graduate to now, my idea of success, has changed wildly. But at this point in time, with where I'm at with my career and the business and that kind of thing, I think there's probably two main factors in terms of, that drive everything I do and how I perceive, success, I guess. So the first is people. So our people are really the foundation of our business and any business really, and driving a culture of success and ensuring that your people have the tools they need to succeed and realize their career goals is, extremely important. And in the same way, if people feel like they don't have what they need to succeed, do they feel comfortable going to their manager or to someone else in their team and expressing that they don't have what they need to, achieve their goals or do a task that they're working on, that week or something like that, without facing any sort of repercussions or, a comment that might put them down, so then they don't ask the question again, and then they make more mistakes, and it kind of has this like compounding sort of influence moving forward. So I think the first thing is definitely, that people side, and really as a people leader, I'm only as successful as, my team around me. If they're not succeeding and if they don't feel like they're doing, contributing to the business, and, they're not happy to come to work every day, then I'm, not doing a good job as a people leader. So that's certainly one of the first things. The second part is that customer side. So, customers are at the core of, what Opteon does, particularly creating technological solutions for them that drive efficiency. It has definitely been one of our, core focuses, particularly over the last 2 years. And this can be anything from, reducing turnaround times on jobs or uplifting data, and creating those kind of integration packages between systems that reduce that manual handling and, enable people to do a better job in less time.
I mean, the people aspect is super important, and I know I've been in the tech industry for around about a decade, and it is that people part of the puzzle that makes all the difference, and that is possibly apart from achieving our targets and watching the company grow and seeing the amazing things that our customers are doing. I think that my favourite thing is the people aspect of the role. And here at Relab, I also wear an HR hat. We're quite a small company, we're only 10 people at the moment, so I also wear the people hat. So yeah, that's super important. I think also when we're talking about success, and for me, I mean, I've got 3 kids, and success has changed for me over the course of the years, and now for me success means being able to be flexible in my work, to be able to work from home, even though we're all doing that right now. But for me, it's to be able to take the dog for a walk at lunchtime, or go to my children's prize givings, or be present for them, doctor's appointments, and all of this sort of different stuff. So success for me isn't just those tangible, touchable process things and results, but it also means having the freedom and flexibility to do my job, and to do my job as a mum, and as a partner, and as a friend, and all these other things like really, really well. So there's a few different things that how we can look at success, and I think for our customers, success looks very different to different people. And, I think for our real estate customers, some of them are in it to buy the Range Rover, and some of them are in it to put their kids through school. Some of them are in it because they're the sales hustler, and they love this. This is what they love to do on a daily basis, and closing those deals, and getting those sales. We've got one of our sales team, Vienna, I think she's in the chat actually. She calls our CRM out the pipe drive. She calls it her dopamine pipe, because every time she gets that sale and makes that connection with a customer, she gets that hit of dopamine, and it feels really good to help somebody, and it feels really good to see other people succeed. And I think that's what we do here at Relab, and certainly you at Opteon as well, is we like to see our customers be successful. And for us as women, it's super exciting when we see other women do really well. And I was super excited to see you winning that award at the Property Institute. It filled me with goosebumps. So it's so good to see the recognition of women doing amazing things in property at the moment. So thanks for that. Stacey, I'll hand over to you for some more questions.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I guess we're all at different stages. Like I'm kind of starting out in my career, so I'm like just trying to learn as much as I possibly can, and to do as many things as I can. And saying that, what are your tips for people starting out in the property industry?
There's so many things that I've learned over the years that I wish I'd known when I'd started my career. But I think, so I've got sort of 3 top tips. Well, not tips, but I guess, what I've learned and what's really helped me get to where I am today, and, uplift myself and progress in my career and that kind of thing. So the first is network. Now, this doesn't come naturally to me. I don't enjoy, well, once upon a time, I didn't really, it wasn't natural for me to walk into a room of people and go up to a random person and go, hi, I'm Avella, and this is what I do. What do you do? And that kind of thing. And it's a skill that you develop over time. And I wish I'd started it earlier. I didn't really start to see the value in networking until probably 3 years ago. And, that's not a very long time ago, but since then it's sort of, it's created a lot of opportunities for me, which has been amazing. And I think if the more people you connect with and the more people, you expose, learn from, I guess, it really enriches your capability, not only as a professional, but a person. If you're meeting other people with different opinions and that kind of thing, it sort of challenges you and forces you to think a bit differently. So that would be the first one. The second one would be building on your personal brand. And this might not be for everybody. There might be people who are happy just to, kind of work in the background and not do that. But for me, it's been a really important step. And when my manager first said to me, you need to work on your personal brand, I didn't really know how to do that. It's kind of a very broad thing to do. But really, I think of it as, how do you want to be seen? Like, what kind of person do you want to be seen as by your peers? Do you want to be seen as someone who has really great technical ability, and is that person, that gets called when something, you get a really difficult job or something really strange, something really strange happens in your day, or whatever it may be? Or do you want to be seen as a really amazing people leader, that really strives to support their team and uplift them and, lead them through sort of difficult periods and that kind of thing? Or potentially you want to be both. And it's really about, elevating your reputation. And I think for me, having got involved in a couple of different things in the last few years, it's really led me to a lot of really amazing opportunities that I think if I hadn't have made the decision to work on that and put myself out there and myself out of my comfort zone, I potentially wouldn't even be sitting here right now talking to you guys. So, it's those kind of things that that happen and you kind of reflect on them and go, wow, that was actually sort of a kind of pivotal moment. And then the third thing would be, and I think this is probably one of the most important things, particularly as women, is to be resilient. I, have faced a lot of challenges in my career, particularly as a young female. And I don't like to, say that and kind of go the woe is me young female card, but, there have been situations where that has caused some difficult, situations for me. And I had to be really resilient. And at the time, I can remember thinking to myself, this is too hard. I'm going to run away. I'm going to go, do something else, whatever it might have been. And I'm really glad I pushed through those difficult situations, because now when I'm faced with similar challenging situations, I know how to deal with them and I know how to move forward. And it's about sort of, if you do have a bad day, going, this is what I said to myself, if I have a really bad day and something really terrible, happens, I'll say to myself, okay, I'll give myself the day to be annoyed about this, to kind of be upset about it, whatever you want, however you deal with it. But then tomorrow I'm going to come back and I'm going to go, how do I fix it? What's the solution? How do I move forward? Because at the end of the day, it's happened. You can only, you choose how you deal with situations. And if you choose to come back and think of it pragmatically and how you can fix it, it'll teach you a lot moving forward when you're faced with other difficult scenarios. So that, and I've learned a lot through trying to build that resilience, but it is challenging. Definitely.
I hear you on that. In my former life, I was still in the tech industry, but I had built my own tech company, and I remember vividly standing up in front of VCs asking for money. And boy, that can certainly build your resilience pretty damn quick. So, doing a funding around a capital raise is probably one of the scariest things that you can do. You've got your idea and your product that you're building, and standing up, usually in front of men. It was. It's definitely changing now, but that was pretty scary. But also, I think with the resilience aspect, I think there's a component there about removing your ego, and I think there's a component there about waking up in the morning, or when you're having those tough conversations, or you're faced with those challenging situations, that you remove your ego from the situation. 9 times out of 10, you're going to be able to see things with a much clearer mind and a much clearer perception, because you can put your past experiences aside, which is sometimes incredibly difficult, because we do carry those traumas with us, when we might have had an experience with a colleague, or with a manager, or with the presenting to VCs, and you do tend to stack those up. You do tend to carry them along with you, and then when that situation happens to you again, your body and your mind automatically goes back into that fight or flight mode, and it brings up, the last time I did this happened. And if you can take your ego out of that, and if you can put yourself in a position, there's a fresh experience, a fresh perspective, then I have learned that it is much easier to sail through those challenges, and sail through those challenging situations, or conflict situations even as well, by trying to remove your ego a little bit. But boy, that is a work in progress, I'll tell you.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's mastered it, to be honest. I think we all have those days where we're like, oh, is this gonna work out? I remember that last time, that kind of thing. So it does get easier, but I don't think it ever
absolutely
goes away.
Like I said, I've got teenage children, and certainly they are learning resilience at the moment, and it's quite nice just to feed off each other, and it's quite nice to recognize a situation where a stressful event or something's happening to them, and then and I know that in a week or a month or a year or whatever, they will look back, and this will be a learning experience, and they will build that resilience. So it's super cool when you do have kids, my age kids, and you can learn those lessons alongside them. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Hey, I'm going to move on to a slightly different tack now. So here at Relab, for anybody that doesn't know, we provide really robust data and insights to people in the property industry. And so, we're a data company at the very core of what we do. However, as I mentioned earlier, our core goal is to help make our customers more successful at what they do, and whatever success looks like for them. How does data impact what you do?
Yeah, so data is becoming one of those things that's really valuable and really, really important to not just property and tech companies, but all kinds of businesses. And in what we do in terms of the government work and the rating valuations, it's probably one of the most important aspects of our job. So our role and our responsibility as the valuation service provider for local councils is to ensure that we maintain and we're continually improving that data, so that councils' customers can benefit from its use. And particularly during lockdowns, Auckland being in lockdown for the last, I don't know, is it 10 weeks now? However long it's been, we haven't been able to do our usual processes. So we haven't been able to travel interregionally if we need to go and inspect a property or whatever it might be. So having access to data while we're all locked down at home makes our job so much easier. And if we can rely on the data and know that, it's a reliable source, it's got the correct information, then we set ourselves up for success, and we're able to do our job properly, which means that our clients benefit from, us completing those tasks from home. And it doesn't stop us doing our job, which is, having that, again, that resilience and being able to sort of transition and change in challenging times, like we've seen in the last 18 months. So it's extremely important, and something that we pride ourselves on, having a good high quality set of data internally. Yeah,
it's about high quality data and accurate data, and I've seen over the years, throughout my tech career, the varying stages of big data emerging, and the importance of timely access to robust data sources. And you can see that with the many companies that are popping up in prop tech at the moment. The data is at the core of most of those companies. Although we did have a very cool guy that came on to our last webinar, and he was from Corex, and he was doing 3D concrete. So, there are innovations in those other spaces as well, which is super cool. But the majority of what we're seeing pop up in property tech right now is centered around data. And I think there's, to be able to latch onto that as a property professional is super important for us to be able to do our jobs properly. And I know the first thing I do every single morning is look in Google Analytics. It's all about the data for me. Cool. Stacey, I think you might have a couple more questions for Avella.
Yeah, so I'm going to change it up a little bit as well. I guess if with lockdown, you probably can't, the events won't be happening at the moment, but what drove you to start your Women in Property group?
Yeah, sure. So as I mentioned earlier, I came to New Zealand 5 years ago. And initially I was only meant to be here for 6 months and ended up staying, 'cause I love it and I feel very fortunate to, call New Zealand home. But as I sort of progressed through my career here, I started to realize that, I didn't have much of a network. I didn't have much of a base in terms of, I had my work colleagues and they were awesome and that kind of thing, but I didn't have, that person to kind of bounce ideas off that wasn't related to my day-to-day job, but more around, issues I was facing in terms of, struggling with perceptions from some people I worked with in the industry, particularly, getting my certification in Australia. It was kind of viewed that, that was sort of a lesser standard than getting my registration in New Zealand. So it was like all these different things that I was facing. And my manager actually put me in touch with a colleague at Auckland Council. And we got chatting and talking and all this kind of thing. And she was facing some very similar issues that I was facing. And we were kind of talking about it. And we said, there's no network, there's no readily, freely accessible network for women in our industry. And so we're like, well, we'll just start one and we'll just see if people are interested and if they actually care about what we have to say or if, if this will work. So our first event had 10 people and it was like, mainly people we knew and friends and that kind of thing. But afterwards we were really buzzing. Like we had a really, positive energy about it. It was like, this could actually be something that's really valuable. And since then, we've gone on to have events, that have been endorsed by PINS. We were, and still are looking to do an event with Velocity, so it's something that sort of evolved and, has got a lot of traction. And as you said, Stacey, at the moment we can't do face-to-face events. And I think face-to-face events will actually look a bit different than they probably did pre-COVID, but, will evolve. And so we're looking to, maybe have a more web-based sort of, event style thing moving forward. And the group, our group's grown from, that initial 10 people in 2019 to now having over 160 people as a part of our group in LinkedIn. So it's been really cool to be able to connect people from different industries. So not just valuers, but, property graduates, real estate agents, property developers, property lawyers, people involved in tech. Like it's been really amazing to see how it's evolved. And yeah, we really, we started it because we felt like there was a gap and there was a gap. And now, it's great to see that there are more initiatives popping up, around New Zealand to support this and drive this change. So, yeah, it started off as a little idea, and it's kind of grown into this, this great thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, I love that you just went away and did it yourself, and
yeah, we were
wait
really nervous. We were like, do you think? What if no one? First of all, we're like, what if no one shows up? And we're like, I suppose we'll just have a wine and pretend it didn't happen, kind of thing. But it's like one of those things you have to sort of put yourself out there and try and drive change, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, and you kind of if it doesn't work, you pick yourself up and you try something new. And yeah, we've had great sort of buy-in from it. So we just hope that we can continue to provide those connections and networks, and hopefully, you know, have a face-to-face event really soon.
Yeah. And how has that network impacted your career?
I think it's provided me a lot of opportunities that I probably wouldn't have had, you know, access to previously. So I guess all the things we've talked about this morning in terms of, you know, that building the network, the Women in Property group, being resilient and sort of pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, like they're all separate things, but they've all sort of worked together to take me to where I am today. And, you know, I think if I hadn't of started to, put myself out there and build those connections, you know, I wouldn't be involved in so many great things that I am today, you know. So, for example, last year I joined the PINS Auckland Branch Committee, and this year became the chair of that committee. So that's, you know, something that's really exciting for me, and hoping to, you know, build a lot of you know, momentum in that role. I spoke at several PINS events. You know, I'm speaking here this morning, and you know, more recently, which is something that was a bit out of the blue and something I didn't think I'd ever be involved in. I've been working on a TV program with Clark Gayford. So, you know, that's something that I would have never thought that I would have done. And it came up from, you know, obviously being involved in the industry, trying to drive this change and trying to connect more people, you know, within the property industry. So, yeah, it's been pretty amazing. It's like one of those things I didn't mean for it to happen this way, but I kind of just identified certain things I wanted to do. And now when I look back on it, it's sort of like, oh, wow.
Is that Clark Gayford
cool.
thing? Is that property program that he's... Yeah, moving houses. Ah, cool. Do you get some airtime? Yeah. Will we get to see you?
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty amazing. Yeah, so I've been on the last 2 episodes. So a bit of a plug here, but if you want to go check it out, it's on TV NZ On Demand. And then I'll be on next week's episode 2. But unfortunately, because of lockdowns and stuff, I haven't been able to be on the other ones.
That's awesome.
But, you know,
I did not know that about
episodes.
That's awesome. I'm going to have to go and do some streaming. Hey, I've got a couple of questions. If anyone else has any questions, just drop them into the chat on the left-hand side. So we've got like a really big range of people on this call. We've got a really big audience actually, which is super nice. You know, and as I said, you know, there's some valuers and there's some, we know there's some real estate agents by their emails, and there's lots of different property people, but you know, there's potentially people that women that are maybe thinking about a career in property. What would be your advice for somebody that was thinking about a career in property? They, you know, potentially haven't gone through university and are an architect or something to that degree, but you know, potentially thinking about going into to be a valuer, or to maybe get into real estate as an agent, or even to join a tech company like ours. And by the way, we're always hiring, so just hit me up if you're looking for something. So what do you think? You know, is there anything they should do, or who should they talk to, or
Yeah, so I think property is one of those areas which can provide you an awesome career, because everybody loves talking about it. And there are so many different things you can do in terms of valuation, development, real estate agent, whatever you want to do. What would be my suggestion? I definitely think, you know, you could reach out to the Property Institute of New Zealand, go on their website. They have a lot of really fantastic information regarding, you know, different careers and that sort of thing. Feel free to reach out to me if you want. And if you're looking to get into some sort of area, I'd be happy to chat to you about, you know, what you could do. And, you know, if you are looking to get into valuation, there are, you know, degrees and that kind of thing you need to do. But I would really just do a bit of research and find out, you know, LinkedIn is a fantastic resource. You can find out so much information on there about lots of different companies and a lot of different careers. So, you know, that as well would be something I'd look at.
Oh, and of course,
the Property
join Avella's group, which I've just done the other day. It's quite funny actually, because across my career I have, you know, started various groups, and of different individuals. And I was just thinking the other day, really cool if there's a women in property group. And voila, there is, which is super cool. I was going to say too, my dad was actually a valuer back many, many years ago. And I've got memories of when I was off school, must have been school holidays or something.
Yeah.
And I would hold his tape measure for him. We'd go around, this is back in the 80s, we would go around the houses and I'd hear a wee top would be holding his tape measure, and he would take the Polaroid pictures and I'd get to hold them while they were processing, because that was, this is way back when I was a wee tot, and I used to sit under his desk while he was doing his work. He had his own valuation company, so I had fond memories of that. And then he actually progressed on to being a real estate agent through in Central Otago in the later stages of his career. So look, there's a ton of things you can do in property. I had a very short stint as a real estate agent after I'd finished my startup. Because we were living in Queenstown at the time, and I was sort of thinking, what am I going to do? Didn't really want to do another startup. Wasn't a lot of jobs in Queenstown, and I thought, I'll give that a whirl. And that was super fun for Harcourts down there. But then when I moved through to Dunedin, I got back into the tech scene again, and have been working for some tech companies. But me and the CEO of Relab, we met at a cryptocurrency company up in Auckland. And then we sort of both went our separate ways. And then one day out of the blue, Nike phones me up and says, "Hey, what are you doing? Should I come on this crazy ride with us?" And I said, "Hell yeah, let's do this. This sounds like something I could really get my teeth into." And super exciting that it's in property, because property is an area which I'm personally really interested in. I've got an investment property quite recently here in Dunedin, and having that background with, that was how we grew up. That was what put food on the table for us. It's quite cool. It's quite cool to have that sort of full circle. So yeah, it is, isn't it? So what I love about the property industry is it's ever changing. I love the fact that there's a load of really smart, really talented women in it. And you're a prime example, as is Stacey. We're so super lucky to get Stacey into the Relab team. But I also love the fact that it's gritty. There's some real grit behind it, and it does take some brain power. And the sky's the limit when it comes to innovation, and when it comes to what's next for us as a company here at Relab, but also in the valuation space, and also in all of these other spaces. We're going to be doing plenty more webinars on innovation and prop tech over the course of the next few months. So that's super exciting. But it'd be cool to hear, what you love about the industry, just as sort of as a closing sort of question.
So what I love about it is it kind of brings together all the different things that I always wanted in a job. So there's the people side of it. There's the side of it where I actually have to think about, what I'm doing, and every day is different, and every day brings new challenges and new successes. And, as you said, there's so much innovation and so much potential and opportunity in the New Zealand property market. We have so many things that, will make our jobs so much easier in terms of tech, data, all that kind of thing. And if you were to get into a property job now, I guarantee you in 5 years' time, it's going to look completely different. And I can tell you, when I got into property, like you were saying there, Louise, the Polaroid, I remember writing on what was called a tick and flick sheet. And it was basically a 2-sided A4 piece of paper, and you had to tick what was on the property, and then you would enter it into the computer. Whereas now it's obviously all on tablets and that kind of thing. So, that's what I love about it, is that it is always changing, and there is always new technology coming out. And there's also a lot of opportunities for people. You can go and do basically whatever you want to do if that's what you're interested in. It's just about finding the right niche or the right company and what you're passionate about. And, if you do find the right company, they'll support you into whatever you want to do. And I think that's what's so fantastic about it. You can start down one path and then move down another one, within 2 years or, 6 months, whatever might happen. So I think that's my favorite part about it.
Yeah, and you're so right about, you know, you might start off in one path, like, you know, I think if we look back on the careers of any of us, you know, you'll see it's not a linear line. There's no A to Z and it goes like this. You know, it's up and down, it's curvy, it's a squiggly line. And I love that. You can start in one place and it was like you say, it's through networks and it's through taking up those challenges and taking those opportunities and you know, putting yourself forward, that you're going to get those. And we've got somebody said here, I saw you on that show and thought to myself, I know you've been at one of my open homes before. So that's quite funny. And he says, I remember chicken flicks, so that's quite funny. Stacey, do you want to? Do you have any more questions, or do you want to wrap us up, or anyone else got any more questions for Avella?
Yeah, I don't have any more questions. So
okay, cool.
If
so
there's no more
thank
in
you,
the chat,
Avella, for
we can wrap
coming
up,
to talk to us. It's 35 minutes. That's pretty good. Look, there's so much more we can talk about, and you know, we'll probably get you on again, and maybe we'll have a panel of 6 different women, and I think that would be probably pretty cool to just get some different viewpoints. If anyone's got any questions for myself or Avella, please do get in touch. Vienna will put our emails in the chat on the right hand side, and after this you'll receive a recording of the video in your inbox, so you can share that with your friends if you want to, if you found this valuable. I thought it was quite cool to just get together with some other wahine and just to have a bit of a korero around, you know, how do we feel about being in this industry right now. It's super exciting. There's tons happening. I know here at Relab we're running pretty fast, and it's pretty cool and it's pretty exciting. So like I said, you know, if you're looking for a job in property tech, just hit me up. So thank you for joining us. Stacey, I'll let you see us out.
Thank you so much. It's been great.
Thanks, guys.
Cool. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.